The human body is an extraordinary machine, and, at the same time, a great mystery. You may think you already know everything about it, but the truth is that there are surprising facts that go unnoticed in everyday life. For example, did you know that your body releases enough heat to boil 2 liters of water in just 30 minutes? Or that your blood vessels, if stretched, could circle the world more than twice? Well, there is much more going on inside you than you might think. The science of the human body is full of details that defy logic. Some of this information can even change the way you view your own biology, influencing your daily habits and decisions. Have you ever thought about how hydration directly impacts your bones? Or the essential role that the speed of nerve impulses plays in your survival? Every second, your body performs complex tasks without you having to move a single finger, and that is what makes it all the more fascinating. So, get ready for a deep dive into some of the most amazing facts about your body that will challenge your perception and open up a new perspective on yourself. After all, understanding what goes on inside you can be the first step to taking even better care of this incredible machine that keeps you alive. Let's go! The human body is a veritable powerhouse. Every 30 minutes, it releases enough heat to boil 2 liters of water. It may seem absurd, but it makes perfect sense when we think about metabolism. Every cell in the body works tirelessly, generating heat as a byproduct of its activities. The heart pumps blood non-stop, the muscles maintain their tone, and even the brain, when fully active, consumes an absurd amount of energy. This means that even at rest, your body is burning calories and releasing heat as if it were a constantly running engine. Now, imagine that energy being used more efficiently. This is exactly what happens when you exercise. Your metabolism speeds up, burning more calories and producing even more heat. Have you ever noticed how sweaty and red we get after running or weight training? This is because the body needs to dissipate the extra heat. In fact, this is one of the reasons why staying hydrated is essential. Without enough water, the body can overheat, leading to problems such as heat exhaustion and severe dehydration. And speaking of heat, have you ever wondered why we feel so cold when we are sick? When the body detects an infection, it increases its temperature as a strategy to kill viruses and bacteria. A fever is nothing more than a biological defense tool for the body. This just proves that our body is a fascinating machine, full of ingenious strategies to keep everything working. And speaking of surprising things, did you know that your bones, despite being rigid, depend on water to maintain their structure? It's strange to think that something as rigid as bones relies on water for its structure, but that's the reality of the human body. About 31% of bone composition is water, which means that hydration directly affects bone strength and health. When we don't drink enough water, our bones lose some of this essential moisture, becoming more fragile and susceptible to injury. It's no wonder that people who are dehydrated can experience joint pain or even fracture more easily. In other words, in addition to helping with skin, digestion, and circulation, water is a true foundation for our skeleton. If you think that all you need is calcium to keep your bones strong, think again. In addition to a good intake of minerals like magnesium and vitamin D, staying hydrated is crucial for bone density. Have you ever noticed how high-performance athletes are always drinking water? It's not just to prevent cramps, it's also to maintain bone structure. Without proper hydration, bones can suffer invisible microfractures, which over time can turn into serious problems, such as osteoporosis. Now, here's an interesting fact. Children have bones that are even more hydrated than adults, which makes them more flexible and resistant to impacts. Have you ever noticed how they fall all the time and, most of the time, get up without even complaining? This happens because, over time, our bones lose this natural elasticity, becoming more prone to breakage. Therefore, maintaining the habit of drinking water from an early age is a powerful strategy to ensure healthy bones for life. And since we're talking about incredible structures in the body, wait until you discover the impressive speed at which their nerve impulses travel. If you think fiber optic internet is fast, wait until you see how fast your own brain is. Nerve impulses travel through your nervous system at an incredible 170 miles per hour, connecting every part of your body in the blink of an eye. This means that every time you touch something hot, you feel pain instantly and react almost without thinking. This speed is essential for survival. Imagine if it took us seconds to realize that we had put our hand in a fire. Our neural network is a veritable high-speed communication system, surpassing any technology created by man. Now, think about the reflex to pull your hand away when something is very hot. This happens before your brain has even consciously processed the information. This is because certain reflexes are managed directly by the spinal cord, reducing the response time and ensuring that you act before you even perceive the danger. This same principle explains why high-level athletes seem to react before the action even happens. They train so hard that their body responds automatically, as if it were on autopilot. But don't think that this impressive speed is maintained without effort. Stress, poor diet, and lack of sleep can slow down your internal internet, making it difficult to concentrate, memorize, and even improve reflexes. Foods rich in omega-3, such as fish and nuts, are known to optimize this electrical transmission in the brain. And of course, staying mentally active by reading, playing strategy games, or even learning a new language helps to keep this neural network always at peak performance. Speaking of invisible efforts of the body, did you know that even to speak we use more muscles than you imagine? Speaking seems simple, doesn't it? But behind every word that comes out of your mouth, there is a true team effort of 72 different muscles. Your tongue, lips, vocal cords, diaphragm, and even facial muscles come into action to produce and articulate your voice correctly. And the most incredible thing, all of this happens in a matter of milliseconds without you having to consciously think about the process. It's like an invisible orchestra, working in perfect harmony every time you open your mouth to speak, sing, or even whisper. Now, have you noticed how your voice changes depending on your emotion? When we are nervous, our throat becomes tense, our voice comes out shaky, and our diction can be compromised. This happens because the muscles involved in speaking are extremely sensitive to our emotional state. This is why great speakers and singers practice breathing and relaxation techniques, ensuring that they can project their voice clearly and confidently, regardless of the situation. If you want to improve your communication, simple vocal exercises, such as saying tongue twisters or controlling your breathing while speaking, can make a big difference. But if the effort to speak is already great, imagine what happens inside your body to keep everything running non-stop. Your circulatory system, for example, is so extensive that if we uncoiled all of its blood vessels, they would circle the world more than twice. Impressive, isn't it? The human body is a true masterpiece of biological engineering. Inside you is an extensive and intricate network of blood vessels that, if lined up end to end, would circle the world more than twice. There are around 100,000 kilometers of arteries, veins, and capillaries, transporting oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your body. All of this happens automatically, without you having to lift a single finger. Every beat of your heart propels blood through this complex network, ensuring that every part of your body gets what it needs to keep functioning. Now, think about the impact of bad habits on this impressive infrastructure. A sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, and stress can clog and harden blood vessels, hindering circulation. Over time, this can lead to serious problems such as high blood pressure and heart attacks. Fortunately, small changes can make all the difference. Walking every day, drinking plenty of water, and eating foods rich in antioxidants, such as berries and nuts, help keep this circulatory network in tip-top shape. After all, taking care of your blood vessels is essential to ensuring that your body continues to function as the incredible machine that it is. And since we're talking about internal functioning, did you know that something as simple as chewing can directly impact your breathing? Well, there's a reason why we can't chew and breathe at the same time, and it has to do with the structure of our pharynx. Have you ever tried to chew and breathe at the same time? If so, you've noticed that it simply doesn't happen. The reason is that both air and food pass through the pharynx, a sort of intersection within our body, where one path leads to the respiratory system and the other to the digestive system. To prevent food from ending up in the lungs, which would be a serious problem, our body has created an automatic mechanism. When we chew and swallow, the epiglottis, a small lid at the back of the throat, temporarily closes over the trachea, preventing air from entering at that moment. This anatomical characteristic has its advantages and disadvantages. The good side is that it prevents serious choking, ensuring that food follows the right path. The bad side. This means that, if we try to talk while eating, we can end up inhaling pieces of food, causing that desperate choking. Who has never laughed while drinking something and ended up coughing non-stop? Well, it's all the fault of this momentary failure in the coordination between breathing and swallowing. That's why experts recommend chewing slowly and avoiding lively conversations during meals. Interestingly, this limitation also affects the performance of professional athletes and singers. Runners, for example, need to find a breathing rhythm that doesn't compromise chewing if they need to eat while running. And singers learn specific techniques to avoid choking while singing and projecting their voice. But speaking of incredible adaptations of the body, did you know that even our lungs were shaped to make room for the heart? The left lung, for example, is 10% smaller than the right, precisely to accommodate this vital organ. The human body is a perfect example of efficiency and adaptation. An interesting detail is that the left lung is about 10% smaller than the right, and this is not a manufacturing error. It had to adjust to make room for the heart, which is slightly displaced to the left side of the chest. This anatomical adjustment shows how our body prioritizes functionality, ensuring that both breathing and blood circulation occur optimally. If the lungs were the same size, there would not be enough space for the heart to beat freely, which could compromise the efficiency of the circulatory system. This small detail also influences the way we breathe. Since the right lung is slightly larger, it receives a slightly greater volume of air. This means that, without realizing it, our body distributes the respiratory effort strategically. By the way, have you ever noticed that some people feel more pain on the left side of the chest when running or exerting themselves? Often, it is not the heart that is in danger, but rather the diaphragm and respiratory muscles working harder to compensate for the natural asymmetry of the left lung. Now, this leads us to an interesting thought. If even the lungs adapt to the heart to ensure more efficient functioning, shouldn't we take better care of this well-designed system? Breathing correctly, exercising, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle are simple ways to ensure that everything continues to function as well as possible. And to think that, behind every detail of our body, there are millimeter adjustments that make all the difference. Curiosity after curiosity, and this was just a small sample of how the human body is a fascinating machine. Now that you've discovered these incredible facts about your body, tell me, which one surprised you the most? Because knowing is one thing, but are we really taking good care of this fascinating machine? Small habits, like drinking more water and paying attention to your body's signals, can make all the difference to your health. Tell me in the comments what you found most impressive. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning more about the human body. See you in the next video.